One thing I wanted to talk about, and I think is worth raising, is Taiwan, because this is something which routinely eludes people. They don't get how important it is. In some people's minds, it's like a complicated territorial dispute somewhere over there. Why should we care? And the reason that the US is as firm on Taiwan as they are is not necessarily because of their deep belief in Taiwanese self-determination, although many US politicians say, and I'm sure believe that. It's economic. The best analysis at the moment that we have of the economic cost of an invasion of Taiwan is 10% of global GDP, $10 trillion. So that's Bloomberg. That's about 5 times worse than the economic impact of the Ukraine conflict. And it could easily be much worse than that with various other contingencies. The reason for that is partly chips, semiconductors. Most of them come from Taiwan. Certainly, the vast majority of advanced chips come from Taiwan. You kill that chip supply chain, and we are all in deep trouble. Stuff just stops working. Not only that, it's an extremely busy shipping route. I mean, it's like 92% of large container ships pass through the Taiwan Strait once a year, something around that region. So the Bloomberg analysis is like, okay, South Korea loses nearly a third of its GDP in a scenario that Taiwan is invaded. And the entire surrounding area and the knock-on economic effects will plunge the entire world into a seriously acute depression. The US knows that, can't afford that. And that's one of the reasons that you're seeing this very hard pivot towards at least being prepared to deter that conflict, being able to deter that conflict. So this is a really big deal. And it's something I want to raise because the UK is not even close to being over this. I don't even think that we've properly assessed how exposed we are and what the economic damage could be. So what happens if we can't get chips anymore? Your iPhone starts costing £10,000. It's not an exaggeration. You know, you can't get stuff. There's massive delays. You know, bearing in mind that the vast majority of all things actually made are made in that part of the world. You know, we're talking a really serious problem. And have we got our house in order? No. Actually, what we're doing is we're walking further into a place of unpreparedness, of greater dependency, of not being able to defend our interests, because China will be in a position to say, all right, and where are you going to get your stuff? You know, we're making it worse, not better. What we should be saying is this is an appreciable risk. China says it wants to do it. They've got the biggest military buildup in history. There are more and more incursions into Taiwanese airspace, more grey zone tactics. They say that they want to execute now those people who are promoting independence in Taiwan. And there are all these other conflicts which China is enabling, which are distracting the world's attention. It would be very stupid not to prepare for the possibility of conflict over Taiwan. And are we doing that? Like hell we are. We're doing virtually nothing. I don't even think we've assessed our economic exposure. That's totally unacceptable, and we've got to be in a better place around that. We already failed over Ukraine to deter and to de-escalate an easily foreseeable conflict. It's going to happen again, except it'll be much, much worse. And the people who will pay for it will be the people of Taiwan and the people who have to end up fighting if it comes to that. But it'll also be people up and down this country who ended up being subjected to economic devastation because of the failure of their politicians.